So we are in a place called Lake Boga. Yep, I'm taking a bit of a tour for this subject. Why not? Rural community engagement. It's time that some of you actually got to see rural silo art. It's actually done quite a bit for the country. So Lake Boga is just near Swan Hill. And Lake Boga, the people who lived here were the Wemba Wemba people, and they have lived here for thousands of years. We've actually mentioned them in the introduction. And the specific tribe was the Gormjanuk, which means lived along the edge of the trees. So they lived here. This was a really fertile area. They would have, there's all sorts of different sites here of evidence of people living here. And their first recorded encounter, so there may have been other encounters, but their first recorded encounter with white settlers was actually Major Mitchell, who came through here, and that was in 1836. And it didn't go very well. There was a bit of an altercation, and the Wemba Wemba people kind of threatened with spears. You can imagine having a bunch of white people come through into your land and not asking permission, and then one of Major Mitchell's men shot one of the First Nations people. So it's tricky. Yeah, just understanding First Nations history. Obviously, I'm a white guy trying to understand this stuff, but you can imagine what it's like having someone come into what has been your backyard for thousands and thousands of years with a sense of entitlement, remembering that the settlers were coming through looking for land. You know, they were looking for land to own. Now, the first assessment task is really getting you to think about, I guess, who you are. It's getting you to think about your role in this project and your role and how you engage with one another. So what I'm going to get you to do is create a short film. I will give you an example of what I would do, probably introduce you to another place, why not, take you on a tour. So the short film, it needs to go for no more than 7 minutes, but 5 to 7 minutes. And what you're doing is you're kind of answering the question, how will your personality and or character strengths influence the way in which you undertake the community project? So in order to do this, you need to understand the ideas of personality. Now, the idea of personality we've covered in the module. You've done the survey. That's actually given you your information about personality. That's the big 5 personality characteristics. So you need to understand that. You can't talk about it unless you understand it. And then the character strengths you'll actually be doing in class. So if you've missed class, you better not have, but if you've missed class, you need to get in touch with me and work out what that is. We're going to do that bit in class. It's a different idea, but we want to capture that. So I want you to think really carefully about how you're going to present this content. Think really carefully about how you're going to present it in a way that's interesting and fun and engaging, because 40% is about the presentation. Now, that doesn't mean you have to, dress up and put on a performance. It just means it needs to be authentic and engaging, and you need to include stories about yourself. Now, I'm going to be upfront with you. AI is changing the way that we do things, and I know that AI will give you a boring script, okay? But I don't want a script. So I don't want you to use a script at all. I want you to just use dot points, don't use a script. I just want you to present the ideas. It's super important. And I also want you to make sure it's just about you. Show me that this is a story about you, not a story about an artificial intelligence that can make up things, okay? So make it authentic. So presentation needs to be creative and interesting. I want you to demonstrate an understanding of personality. Now, the way that you do this is by, explaining it, but regurgitation is not the only way. I want you to apply it, okay? So really give me examples from perhaps your life or examples of what this might look like in the future. Really demonstrate to me that you understand those big 5 personality characteristics as they are for you, right? This is about your story. This is not about regurgitating information. The second thing is I want you to demonstrate an understanding of the requirements of the assessment. Now, so the subject includes a whole bunch of assessments, but the requirements of the subject. Now, if you tell me, we've got to turn up to class, and my conscientiousness means that I'm going to turn up every week, I'm like, what do you know? You know that you're going to turn up to class. That doesn't tell me anything. I want to know that you have a rich understanding of what's expected of this subject, okay? So you need to have gone through that overview of the whole subject. You need to have had a look at all of the videos about the assessment tasks. Demonstrate to me that you know all the different components of this subject and how it's going to fit together. And then finally, I want you to think about how personality and character strengths are going to have an impact on the community engagement project. Now, the community engagement project is anything to do with the subject. The whole subject is about this community engagement. But I want you to think about how your personality and character strengths is going to have an influence on the way in which you do that. Okay, so again, it's application, not just regurgitation. Don't tell me what I already know, tell me something new. Tell me how this is going to have an influence. Personality and character strengths are going to have an influence on the way in which you engage with this process. So think really deeply about it. Think about how you can make the ideas in your presentation interesting and fun. Tell me stories, paint me a picture. Show me things. We'll talk a bit in class about a couple of strategies for making it super interesting, but the most important thing is to be authentic. So do not read a script. I will deduct marks for reading a script. I've already told my markers that we're going to deduct marks for reading a script. You can use dot points, that's fine, but just use plain English. But paint a really clear picture and demonstrate to me that you have done the work around personality, done the work around character, and done the work around understanding the subject. Demonstrate that to me in a really creative and interesting way, and you'll do exceptionally well. Thanks.